What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Stealth and Steel Outdoors. My name is Graham, and today I'm going to be doing a voiceover at the beginning of this video. And what's actually happening on the screen right now is I am replacing a set of gas bowstrings on my hunting bow, and we're going to get into that here in a minute. But I'm replacing them with the Rouge R17 strings. If you have been around the channel for a while, you would know that last year I used the R19s. Had absolute great luck with them, no complaints. That Prime Nexus 4 had 9 different strings and cables, and those strings were able to hold up through a whole season. The bow never came out of time, out of tune through a pretty hard year of bow hunting. You know, I'm pretty rough on my equipment, but I have nothing but great things to say about those. And since I decided that I was going to be replacing the gas ass bowstrings with Rouges, I was going to try their cheaper model because this is a little bit more of a price range that competes with gas with their stuff. So these strings were about 150 bucks, and you will see how easy it is to set up this bow through the rest of this video. But what I wanted to talk about are the 3 sets of gas bowstrings that I have owned since I've started working on all my own equipment. And I've been recommended gas bowstrings by a lot of the top influencers out there within the space. You know, even professional archers, excuse me, up to a certain extent use gas bowstrings. They promote them. Everybody knows that, you know, gas makes bowstrings inside of the archery community. However, if you ask me, they don't do it very well. Okay, because I've had 3 sets of strings from them, varying in different price ranges. I bought my first set from Lancaster, and then the other 2 I bought from a dealer or through a dealer. I'm not even really sure what that situation is. I was thinking I was buying them from gas, but apparently they have, you know, dealers all over the place, which would make sense and be very profitable for them. But anyway, I have put gas bowstrings on 3 different bows, and not a single set has been able to make it to a hunting season. And to, I guess, my credit, because I'm not going to give these strings or this company any credit, I do a lot of shooting. I'm not even kidding. Last year I probably shot close to 10,000 arrows. If I'm going to be honest with you, it's probably more than that if you count target season. So I shoot a lot. So maybe I'm shooting through, you know, these sets of strings. However, if you're spending $150 on a set of strings, they should not be wearing out in a summer of shooting. Because now, I've used some pretty cheap strings and cables in my day. I've bought strings and cables on eBay for less than $70 for a set of strings and cables. And when I compared that set of strings up against the gas high octane strings for the same bow, that under the same poundage and everything, they were about the same. As bad as that cheaper set of strings were, they were almost just as good as the gas high octane strings that I spent $150 on. Now, really, what does that say, and what was I measuring? Well, the first thing that I measured is how far my bow was out of spec after I shot it for a little bit. After the string stretched and all that, I measured how far my bow was out of spec, the peep rotation, and how far the serving started to separate. And I had to visually note and take pictures of the eye holes around the cables and stuff like that where they actually attach onto the bow. Did all that, measured it as best as I could. I'm not a scientist or an engineer or anything. I was just taking measurements with a tape measure and a set of calipers, and they were about the same. As bad as you think a less than $70 set of strings from eBay is, the gas bow strings were almost just as bad, at least the set that I've had. And I've had 3 sets, and I've yet to have a set make it to a hunting season, you know, before I'm just sinking more money into my bow after I thought this is the last thing I'll have to buy, is a decent set of strings and cables. And then now I got to go out there and fork over another $100+ on something that should have been fixed the first time when I had bought the gas bowstrings. And this all just really comes down to, you have to be careful who you listen to. Because I don't care who's out there recommending these, how many followers they have, how many bows they work on, I don't fucking care. If you're promoting a product, there's a chance that they are monetarily benefiting from it. And if you are going to do that, from here on out, I'm going to have a very, very hard time believing your opinion. I just am. If you can monetarily benefit from saying stuff on the internet to either drive your sales or to drive the sales of a product that you sell or of a company that you support, I will not trust your opinion, because chances are it is bought and paid for, and that is fucking garbage. Okay? And if you aren't even going to sit there and acknowledge the issues that they've been having with these strings, then I can't trust your opinion or you as a figure in the archery industry at all, because you're not honest and you're not truthful. And I've had some serious fucking issues with this company and with these strings. And it's almost like that, oh, that was just a one-off. Well, it's almost impossible that I got 3 sets of bad strings in a row. That is statistically impossible, especially if they're working with standard tolerances, like with inside their company, inside of their production. But that's all I got to say, y'all. Now we're going to get into the rest of this video. Alright, so this year I'm sticking with a proven arrow shaft to me. I'm sticking with the gold tip black label quantum and a 250 spine. This arrow is 9.3 grains per inch, and I've cut them down to 28 inches. And this year I chose to shoot AAE vanes mainly because I don't really pay attention to how loud they are, the profiles, any of that stuff. I shoot whatever looks cool. And for whatever reason, I think these Max Hunters look cool. So that is the main reason why I'm shooting this. And I decided to go ahead and buy all of their stuff to go along with it. So I'm just going to kind of take you through the steps here on how this kit's supposed to work. So the first thing you're supposed to do is bust into one of these wipes and wipe down every single one of your arrows. I've already done that. I did that yesterday. But you don't want to just, burn a wipe if you don't have to, because you only get 10 of them in the pack. Next thing what you'll do is you'll grab one of your vanes, and then you'll grab your primer pen, shake it a few times. Use this stuff very, very sparingly. You don't want to put too much pressure on that cap, or else this thing is going to leak so bad. Fletch. Alright. Let that dry for a second. Then we're going to get the Max Bond out. Hopefully this thing didn't clog up, because I did do an arrow last night to see if all this stuff would come together and how nice it would turn out. And so what I like to do is I like to do 3 little dots on the ends and in the center, and then rub them all together, because too much glue is a bad thing. Just slaps right on there. I don't know how long you're supposed to sit here with these. I don't leave them long, mainly because if I'm doing one, I'm doing 12, and I'm trying to move this process along. Important tip, always cover your glue. You never want to leave that on. Just leave it sit for however long. So this is an example of the final product that I'm going to be running this year. Like I said, this is a gold tip black label quantum and a 250 spine, cut down to 28 inches or just a little bit below. I'm running a red halo lighted knock. And I'll just go ahead and turn on this bad boy. These are super expensive, but they are so worth it, especially when it comes to filming your own hunts and everything like that. As long as the deer is in frame, you'll easily be able to get the shot on camera. So I'm running 4 fletch this year. I always run 4 fletch. I think it looks cooler. That's why I run them. And I'm going to kill my first deer with a fixed blade broadhead with a compound this year. And I'm going to use this one. I don't remember. I think this is the exact broadhead. I don't remember what the name of it is, but it's their 3 blade. I think it might be their S2. I'm not even 100% sure, but I really like the design and how these fly. Now you really want to be meticulous with this. You want to take your time, make sure you're getting good contact on all the vanes with glue and everything. Make sure it's contacting the arrow shaft good, and you want to make sure you don't use too much glue, because those are kind of like the only ways you can really mess this up. If you use too much glue, you messed up. If you made a mistake putting it on to the arrow shaft, you messed up, and it just really hinders the vanes actually sticking, especially if you shoot through a target or through an animal. Alright, and a pro tip, what you can do if you notice that maybe the back or the front of the vane isn't exactly sticking to the arrow shaft, you can angle your clamp so where you can angle it down and have the front side facing up, since that's in this case, that's where it actually bonded the best at, and it shrinks your gap in the back so you actually get a good bond onto your arrow shaft. Alright, so I hope I am within frame and everybody can see everything alright. But so what I have now is I have 2 arrows with me, and they are identical. I built 12 of them, the exact same. So if I can get these 2 arrows to go through paper and a bullet hole, the rest of my arrows will as well. That's why you buy the good stuff. That way you only really have to tune 2 arrows, and then you have a dozen that's basically ready to go. Or close enough to where you won't be able to shoot the difference anyway. So what I'm going to do on this first shot is I'm going to be holding on the left-hand side edge of the paper, because I'm going to try to find what pin I need to use to aim with on the paper to shoot through my paper holder and into the target. So that's what this first one's going to be. So we'll just get the full draw, put every single pin, sight pin, on the edge of the paper. Alright, so it looks like I'm going to be using my second pin, and that one might be a little bit of a right tear. That also could have been me, so we are going to go ahead and shoot another one right beside it. Actually, that looks pretty damn good. I'm not going to lie. That one looks pretty solid. So we're going to go down here. I'm going to take a look at the tears that we have, and I'll show the camera as well to show you what I'm going to be doing on my next correction. Alright, so this is what we got. This was the first one. It's a little bit of a high right tear. As you can see, the point enters in on the paper here, because I can see one vein cutting the paper on this edge, and it's kind of tearing up and to the right. I shouldn't have any left or right tears, because my arrow spine is 100% perfect. Okay, so I should not have any left or right. So that would be me inducing a little bit of this right tear onto this one. So that's why I always shoot 2. And as you can see on this one, it is still just a fuzz high. I can see it entering in on the paper here and tearing up. So what I'll do is I'll make an adjustment to my arrow as up and down, or vertically, and I'll reshoot this to see if that changed anything in my tears. Alright folks, so this is what I'm going to call good. I've been shooting through paper pretty consistently, and this is about as good as I'm able to get out of the current bow setup that I have right now. I'm thinking I might have a little bit of knot pinch that is giving me this just minimal high tear, but I feel like I've tuned it out, and I feel like once these strings and that serving really gets broken in with these lighted knocks, that this will eventually go away. And all in all, I think I might be shooting uphill a little bit. So this is probably as close to perfect as I'm going to be able to get, at least tonight. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the actual shooting part of this video. And I have a 3-blade fixed blade broadhead here. This is the I believe this is the exact broadhead, and this is their S2 model, which is their 3-blade. This is my favorite broadhead that fixed broadhead that I've ever shot out of a compound. You see it's on an arrow. We got a couple of lighted knocks, and we are at about 40 yards from that deer target. So what am I trying to accomplish with this? So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to make the best shot that I possibly can here at 40 yards. Then I'm going to follow it up aiming at the same place with a field tipped arrow, and we're going to see how far away these arrows are, and that will also determine which way we are going to move our arrow rest. Now, luckily for me, my arrow spine is absolutely perfect, so I should still kill this deer, but if it doesn't hit anywhere where I'm aiming, then I have to make an adjustment. Alright, that's actually not bad. But we're going to go ahead and shoot our field tip arrow. I'm actually going to raise my hat up a little bit because I couldn't see the target out of my other eye. Alright, here we go.
Well, I honestly, I don't know what I want to say. I've been trying to make these videos seem a little bit difficult to do with the paper tuning and with the broadhead tuning, but those arrows are touching at 40 yards. So I honestly wouldn't do anything. I would just leave the bow as it is and I would take it hunting, because that is absolutely phenomenal. I have never had that happen with any bow setup that I've ever done, except for the one last year. The Prime Nexus 4 was really, really easy to set up well as well. And I think that has a lot to do with the strings that you put on your bow, because even though this set of strings isn't the R19 strings that I got last year, these R17s are doing just fine. So I am going to take you down there and show you. And alright, so that is pretty good. This is the broad-headed arrow, and that is in the 12 ring, so that's where